Valerie. Welcome back to another week's What's for Dinner. If you're new here, welcome. I'd love if you'd hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. I put out What's for Dinner videos every week, and I've got 3 inspirational meals for you again this week, and I hope that you enjoy all of them. Other than that, let's just get started. This first meal is cheeseburger pasta. I'm starting off by bringing a large pot of water to a boil, and I've salted it, and now I'm going to go ahead and add in my pasta. I'm adding about 3/4 of a pound of pasta into this, so maybe about 12 ounces. And now I'm chopping up an onion. This is just one small yellow onion. The recipe actually didn't call for any onion, but I thought that sounded really good with it, and I had a lot of onions to use up. So yeah, just going to go ahead and give that a nice chop. And while your pasta is boiling, you're going to go ahead and get started on the rest of the meal. So you're just going to take a large skillet, and I'm just going to go ahead and add in a pound of ground beef. I had defrosted mine first in the microwave actually. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the pan and break it up with my meat chopping tool and let that go ahead and brown. And now I'm going to go ahead and actually season that meat. I'm going to start off by seasoning it with about a teaspoon of garlic powder. You can use anywhere from a half a teaspoon if you need be, but I like garlic. And then a half a teaspoon of onion powder. I believe I also gave this a good little sprinkle of oregano and some salt and pepper. And I just gave that all a good stir and kind of use my meat chopping tool to continue to break that up because I like my meat in nice small pieces. I don't like big chunks of like ground meats like that. I also decided to add in just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce and that chopped up onion, and I'm just going to continue to let that meat cook and let that onion soften up. And once that meat is cooked, I'm going to add in an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. I'm just using the Aldi brand here, and I should have let that soften a little bit more. I struggled with it for a moment there, but it all worked out. I just let it kind of sit in the meat for a moment, and it softened up just perfectly. And I'm also going to go ahead and add in some cheddar cheese. The recipe called for 12 ounces of cheddar cheese, so I went ahead and measured that out. I use fresh grated cheese here. You can use any kind you'd like. And I just mix that all together and let that just all melt while mixing and stirring that around so that the cheeses can begin to melt. Now I'm going to add in 3/4 cup of milk. I'm kind of doing half of it first and then stirring to get that nice and blended in with the cheeses really well, and then I add in the other part and stir that in as well. So I really liked the flavor of this meat mixture, but I do think it needed something more for me. I would have liked maybe some chopped up bacon in there or mushrooms. I know this is cheeseburger style, and so if I'm thinking of things that go well in a cheeseburger, I'm thinking bacon and mushrooms. I really think they would bring a whole other dimension of flavor to this dish. I actually think I would have liked it way more. Not that it was bad, it needed something more for me, and I think those two things would have really made it. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add in my cooked pasta, and I don't know if I mentioned, but I chose to use penne. I thought it was a nice firm pasta for this. I'm sure a rotini would also work. Maybe even just like a macaroni, a large elbow macaroni would too, but I really like penne. So yeah, and yeah, I'm just going to kind of fold that in and be a little gentle. You don't want your pasta to completely just break apart. Even though my pasta is al dente, I'm just kind of mixing that around into the pasta. I served a side salad with this, so just a spring mix with some croutons and tomatoes, and I'm using that Aldi white balsamic basil vinaigrette. That dressing is really, really good. We love that. So that salad was delicious. The pasta was, like I said, it was good, but it needed extra flavor for me. But my boyfriend liked it, so there's that. Hope you guys enjoy that. This next meal is a lemon garlic Parmesan shrimp pasta. I'm starting off by bringing a large pot of salted water to a boil, And once that's boiling, I'm going to go ahead and add in 8 ounces of linguine. I'm sure you could also use fettuccine or even angel hair pasta, but I really like linguine. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and use my tongs to push that under the water and give that a good stir to break up all the noodles. And just cook that till al dente. And now in my large skillet, I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil as well as 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm letting that melt, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in about 4 cloves of minced garlic as well as 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good toss for a moment until the garlic is nice and fragrant. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in about a little over a pound's worth of shrimp. The recipe called for, I believe, 1.25 pounds. I had a little over a pound somewhere, so I'm just adding that in. And I'm going to go ahead and season that with some salt and pepper and some garlic powder because I wanted more of a garlic taste and I was all out. I had just used all of my fresh garlic in the beginning of this recipe. And after a couple minutes, I'm kind of like turning these shrimps over with my tongs one at a time here. You want them to be pink, to start to not be translucent and become pink. And I want that on both sides, and instead of just using a spatula to kind of like toss them around, I'm doing this so that they kind of are evenly cooked instead of me not being sure if some of them aren't all the way cooked or some being overcooked compared to the others. So yeah, this just works out for me. You do what's best for you. And once the shrimps are pink, I'm going to go ahead and season them with a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and then just give those a good stir to coat them with that seasoning. And once they're nice and coated, I'm going to go ahead and add in my spinach. This is just some leftover spinach I had from some omelets during the week, so I don't have an exact amount, but the recipe did call for 4 cups. And yeah, so I might have had 8 ounces because I believe this was like a 10-ounce bag, and I didn't use much of it. So that is how much I have around. Right here. And then just go ahead and let that cook until your spinach goes ahead and cooks down and wilts down. And then you're going to add in 4 tablespoons of butter and let that melt. I cut these into tabs here, like 1 tablespoon tabs each, but I am struggling separating those, as you can see, but I just wanted to help them kind of melt because I didn't want my shrimp sitting there too long cooking up even more. So yeah, so let that melt a bit, and then you're going to go ahead and add in your cooked pasta. So I'm just adding in my linguine, and I'm just using my tongs to coat that with the butter, and then just kind of fold in that spinach and those shrimps, and being gentle also not to break my pasta basically. And yeah. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm just using a bagged kind here. I will use a little bit fresh later just for serving purposes, but for this I just used a pre-shredded bag of Parmesan cheese. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and toss that into my spinach, and then I'm going to add some fresh lemon juice once that's all melted. I'm using about 1/2 of a lemon here. I just kind of started off with 1/4, and I'm also doing it over this little mesh sieve thing to make sure that none of the seeds go into that pasta dish. And I made those air fried asparagus with this, and I will leave a little link to those. This meal was delicious. We loved it a lot. It was really, really good. But we love pasta and seafood, and this just had all those nice fresh flavors, and you know I'm addicted to those asparagus right now. So we really hope that you enjoy this as much as we did. This last meal is honey barbecue chicken sloppy joes. I'm starting off by making a side for this, which is just some potato wedge fries, and you've seen me make these plenty of times, so I'm not really going to get too much into this. I just cut up some potatoes, some cleaned up potatoes, russet style, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut them into some wedges, and you can use whatever amount of potatoes you'd like or that would fit in your air fryer. And I'm just going to toss those with some olive oil, and going to go ahead and just season those with some salt and pepper and some Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, as well as some ranch powder. Yeah, nothing, you could use whatever seasonings you like. Just go and throw that all together, toss it all up, and then I just go ahead and place those in my air fryer basket. I air fry them anywhere from like 410 degrees for about 20 minutes. Next, I'm just cutting up 1 large chicken breast into some kind of even-sized big chunks here. I'm going to be using this chicken breast to make the pound of ground chicken that you're going to need. You can easily just buy a pound of already ground chicken, but I'm going to go ahead and use my food processor. One, because chicken was on sale, like 99 cents per pound, which is really good. You cannot get the already ground chicken for that price, so I'm going to do it myself. So I'm just placing that into my Ninja food processor, and I'm just going to pulse that about 5 times. You don't want to hold down the button, just press that pulse button. That's all you want. Just about 5 times, 6 times is probably what would have been better. I would have liked it a little bit finer, but it was perfectly fine, and it broke up as well while cooking it. So now I'm just taking my skillet and I'm adding in a little tab of butter there, and then I'm going to go ahead and place my ground chicken in there and let that brown up. I had also diced up 1 small yellow onion. I don't know where the clip went for that, but yeah, I just diced it up into some nice, not too fine of pieces, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that in with the ground chicken so it can cook down while the chicken is cooking up. And I'm pretty much just going to go ahead and stir that and let that continue to cook until the chicken is no longer pink, as well as the onions becoming translucent. And also, I don't know if it was my chicken or the onions, but they were producing a lot of liquid, and I didn't really want that. So a little trick I use is just to take some paper towels, or I push the meat aside first, and then I use some paper towels to kind of just collect a lot of that excess liquid and just take it out and throw those out. And it makes it a lot easier than trying to drain the meat and not spilling it out of your pan, especially with a heavy pan like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in some barbecue sauce. You're going to need about a cup of barbecue sauce. I actually think I would have been fine with about 3/4 cup, but yeah, I end up using the whole cup. I just started off with half and I mix it in to just kind of check it, and now I'll add in that other half. And you're going to also need 1/2 cup of honey. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there as well. And then you're just going to go ahead and give that all a good stir and let that simmer on medium for about 3 minutes. And while I was cooking the chicken, I preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and I'm going to go ahead and just toast my hamburger buns. I didn't have any fancy hamburger buns, these are some little ones, but yeah, toast them for about 4 to 5 minutes. And this is that. I sprinkled on some mozzarella cheese as per the recipe instructed to do so, because I wanted to give it a try the same way. And I also added those slices of dill pickles, and those were really good. I always like the fries, but the pickles really added to this dish. Yeah, it was really good. We both enjoyed that a lot. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos. I hope you all have an amazing week.